Welcome, I'm the Deadwood Jedi. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video, and today we are in my account, and I am about to show you guys my personal clan boss team. This one, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. As you know, I love running traditional teams. Unkillable teams are great, but I really like using the skill and, trying different stuff by using my traditional clan boss team without using unkillable champions. And today I'm going to show you my team. This is the team I've been running for a few weeks now. It's my it's a 100 million team, guys. It's a 100 million team. I haven't had a 100 million team before. This is that. I have, I think, a high of about 117 million doing this comp. And on average, it's almost always a 1-key, occasionally affinity or a bad RNG proc, not landing decreased attack can throw us off, really is the one thing. But every affinity, every possible thing, we're 1-keying everything, which is super fun and really great. So I wanted to share this with you guys. Now, obviously, I'm using top-end gear, top-end champions. But the one champion that you might be really interested in seeing is Underpriest Brogni. And he is bonkers on this team, guys. I mean, bonkers. Definitely worth checking out. Now, if you do want to use an Underpriest Brogni for your clan boss team, there are some caveats. I basically recommend using him with the Valkyrie. But if you want to see, there are some issues. I've tried them in a couple different things, including unkillable teams. And so I have a game on video down below that I'm actually going to talk a little bit about some of the issues with Brogni right now. There's some AI quirks. There's some weird stuff going on with his kit. So he's still extremely good, just not as good. And I'll kind of go over his kit, like how I would use him for unkillable teams myself. So not just unkillable for whatever, but where I would and where I wouldn't use him. That said, enough talking that. What I do want to do is I want to show you this team. Now, real quick, before we get into it, I do want to shout out my Patreons just for their support. Those are the people that are really enabling me to do this full time, and so much thanks to all of you guys. If you guys would like to become Patreons, there are links down below. If you need some coaching or takeover for your clan boss team, that's a great way to go about getting it. It's how I do all my account work. Also, if you enjoyed today's music, there's a Soundstripe link down below. You can use that and get all the music that I use on here is offered there. Especially if you're like a streamer, YouTuber, or other kind of content creator that needs licensed music, it's a great way to go about getting it. So I definitely recommend that. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead, take a look at the champions, and then I'll show you guys today's run. So let's start by talking about Underpriest Brogni. Brogni is the one champion that I brought in. It's really the reason why I wanted to try this comp. With Underpriest Brogni, I realized I could do something that was going to be affinity friendly, and I really wanted to see how Brogni would do extending Valkyrie shields. Because, not extending, but increasing. He has an interesting skill here, is A2, which will increase the value of shields based off his attack. And I figured pair that with Valkyrie, it's got to be really good. And yeah, I was right. It is really good. Of course, he brings the block debuff ability, but he also brings an increased attack ability, which is pretty solid. He brings an HP burn on that A1, but the most interesting thing, which I wasn't expecting, is his passive ability. Not only does he heal allies based off the damage they take from the shields, but they also reflect damage, and that can actually proc Giant Slayer. So if you look under the masteries here, and I'll try and move myself over. There we go. You can see Giant Slayer right here has a chance of inflicting bonus damage every time a champion is hit. So on those multiple hits from the clan boss that are happening on all of your champions, he has a chance to proc Giant Slayer on each and every one, which is insane. Now, there are some issues with it. Like I said, I'm going to go over that in a game on video, so you'll probably want to check that out before you bring Brogni into your clan boss team. But this is really fascinating to me, and it does crazy, crazy damage is what he can do. Definitely more against affinity than not, but Brogni is kind of nuts because of that. You will also notice the defensive tree we go down, as well as the offensive tree. This is pretty typical. All my champions have that. Some of them might have War Master instead of Giant Slayer. Some of them might or might not have Stoke to Fury, and they'll have like Deterrence instead. It doesn't matter, honestly. Neither one's going to affect this team because we're blocking all the debuffs, so it doesn't matter. But otherwise, everybody's in those two trees there. The other thing about Brogni, obviously, he's in Stalwart. Like all of my champions are in Stalwart gear. We're talking high-end, Ultra Nightmare, Clan Boss traditional team, I need to stay alive. Everybody's going to be in stalwart gear. Go over the stats really quick. 100% crit rate. We do want him hitting. We want him hitting as hard as possible. He's got insane multipliers on his kit. But look at that base attack, 782. It's so low. It's impossible to get it high. So I tried to put attack in where I could, but I wasn't going to obsess over it. I just knew it was going to stay low. We're relying on that multiplier. We're relying on the crit rate. We're relying on what crit damage I could put on for him for that to work. Now, I don't have a lot of accuracy on him. I don't need him to do a lot of damage. I don't even need the HP burn, really. It's helpful when it lands, but it's really not important, so I didn't want to worry about that. 3,600 defense, nothing super crazy, but it works for us. 56,000 HP is great too. The issue is, of course, his skills are all attack-based, which is not fun. We want HP for the shield, attack for the damage. It's kind of hard to put everything on him, so we had to pick and choose a little bit. The next champion we're bringing in is going to be our damage dealer, and it's going to be Draco. Now, you want to see some low defense on a champion, guys? Look at Draco, 2,200. This is an unkillable build I have going on. I mean, 100% crit rate, 250 crit damage, 270 accuracy, 192 speed, 5,000 attack, only 3,100 HP, 2,200 defense, and yet he survives as long as everybody else on this team. It's insane what those shields do for us. It really is crazy how effective those are. Of course, stalwart gear is pretty insane too, so that's a big part of it. Masteries, as I said, offense and defense for him as well. Now, keep moving on. Now, one of the reasons why I can have both of them at such low defensive levels is because we are bringing in Iron Brago. And Iron Brago, same offense, defensive masteries. You can see same stalwart gear. But he does have 4,500 defense, so that's going to be an extra 450 on each of those champions. You know, that's his passive ability, which is insane. Good crit rate, good crit damage, accuracy, speed's 214. All of that's going to work great. Now, typically with a Mashalled team, oop, that's not who I'm looking at. Typically with a Mashalled team, you have Mashalled going at 252, and your Valkyrie or counterattacker or your debuff blocker going at 251. Well, in this, I wanted to make sure I had two champions going after Mashalled takes his double turn. So both Valkyrie and Brogni, I want to go after that so that we can get the shield up every time for everybody, and extend it every time for everybody, and stay affinity friendly and whatnot. So I had to make some alterations. So this is a really unique speed tune. This is something I came up with for this team specifically. It's an alternate Mashalled White Whale team. I'll have that on the website, so you guys can check it out. You can definitely use it. There are other speeds that work with this, so there is some variations in here. I'm going to put up the slowest speeds that have been found to work. Those are not the speeds that I'm using, so just keep that in mind. There are other speeds. It's not the same speeds. So if you want to run this exact team, you can follow these speeds off this video, but otherwise the website, it will work just fine too. The setup might be a little bit different. That's going to really be the big difference there. Now, as far as Mashalled goes here, I have him at 238 speed, okay? 3,500 defense. Again, think about the Brago add-on, right? We're going to get another 450. Takes him about to 4,000. 3,600 attack, about as much as I could put on. Good HP. Not even 100% crit rate. Not great crit damage. Good, but not great. And no accuracy, guys. No accuracy on him. This isn't even like the best build I'm sure I could do on him. But with the gear I have, it felt pretty close to it, so we left it there. Again, masteries, we're going offense and defense. And then very last is Valkyrie, offense, defense, masteries. And she is going to be at 7,100 defense, 40,000 HP, 252 speed. Yeah, she makes a massive shield. She's the reason why we stay alive in this team. So, yeah, it's a crazy comp. Like I said, there's a possibility I could, like, slow her down by about 20 speeds. Otherwise, these are pretty much the exact same speeds you're going to want to use. That's really the difference. Is I believe this team could work with her at about 230, but I have her at 252, and I'm pretty happy with that actually right now. So I didn't see any reason to try and mess around and change it, and I didn't want to mess with the turn order of the comp, which would change as well by reducing those speeds. So that's the team. So now one of the things I do want to point out with this, I have Valkyrie taking the stun. She's the lead. She has the most defense, so she'll survive the longest. At least that's the idea. Everybody uses their skills right off the bat. Well, Valkyrie does, right? Brogni, I need to actually do the A1 skill twice to start. And Mashalled A1 wants to start as well. Brago, increased defense right off the bat, and then Draco's going to do her thing. As soon as Brogni takes his first turn here on the second attack in the game, A1. Now that's off the counterattack. As soon as he actually takes the second attack, I can click auto, and it'll work. And part of the reason is, part of the reason is I don't understand why. But there you go. There's that A1 skill right there, and then we can basically click auto here, and there goes the auto. Boom, and everybody's going to use their skills. Now, what does this do? It blocks the debuffs right here off the jump, but Mashalled's going to take the first stun. And with Mashalled taking the first stun, for some reason, and I don't know why exactly, puts us in sync. And it's great. It works beautifully. So we're going to go ahead and just go with it because it works. But it's actually really fast to set up and run because of that. Now, obviously, if the stun goes somewhere else, then we need to manipulate it a bit. Now, why does the stun go on Mashalled? Because of that double turn, she actually burns through the increased defense buff. I believe that's the one. That Brago puts up. And so because of that, she's only championed without it, and the clan boss is like, ooh, easy target. After that point, though, we actually block all the debuffs. We don't have to worry about where the stun goes. I should go to Valkyrie because everybody will have the same buffs up. There's an increase. Everybody has increased defense. She doesn't have the counterattack up, and we get the block debuffs right there, and we're perfectly good to go at this point. You can see here I actually break it down. We have Draco going first right there. Look, decrease attack right before the AoE is going. Get the double turn from Mashalled. Excellent, so we got the speed up. Now we're going to put that shield right before that first AoE, and Brogni's extending it. Watch the shields grow. Watch them grow, they're incredible. And then we keep going through here, finishing up our turns. Basically everybody just using their A1 skills, and it's great. Now the second turn comes around, and the same kind of thing happens. Brogni's actually going to put up the block debuffs right here on his first attack, and that's going to carry through the second AoE. So there it goes, right before this first attack, and this is why he's going last in the turn order, because as everybody takes another turn, everybody still has block debuffs up. That means no affinity debuffs. We don't have to worry about that. As we continue moving forward here, he's going to put it up right before the stun. One of the things I have is Brago putting up increased defense right before the stun as well. And what does that do? That makes sure that we can tank the stun as long as possible, because what kills us in this isn't the AoEs, it is the stun. And this team lasts a long time, guys. It is a crazy, crazy team. So here, let me take myself off the screen. I'm gonna let you guys watch this run. I'll speed it up for sure. I don't want to jump. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna jump part way through to this, not to the very end though, because I do want to watch this run. I think you guys are gonna be interested in seeing it. But I'll skip about 20 turns here, and then you guys can tell me, when do you think this is gonna end? Go ahead, make a guess. Leave a comment down below. Let me know. But otherwise, enjoy the music, and I'll be back in a sec. you go, 107 million damage, pretty insane numbers. You can see Brogni did 14 million, Braga did 20. I've seen Brogni, Underpriest, doing over 20 million doing this, so very, very effective team, I would say. I mean, it's a bonkers team, guys. It's a bonkers team. It's crazy. You know, doing 100 million is always kind of nuts. And a very, very long run, well over 20 minutes long. So sorry for all that length, but I find it fascinating watching these teams inch towards that kind of damage goal, seeing how the HP levels drop but fill up again. It's really, really fascinating. And you could probably see the shield growth on Valkyrie's shield is just insane. It's just insane. The amount that it just grows is just crazy to me. So Brogni and Valkyrie just make a fabulous combination. If you have both of them, it's definitely something to look at. I'm not saying it's for everybody, every team, but it's definitely something worth looking at. So hopefully you guys kind of enjoyed watching that. Again, I want to give another shout out to some of my Patreons just for supporting me throughout all this. Could not be doing this without them. Thank you guys for sticking around and watching. If you're still here, please hit that subscription, hit that like button. You have no idea how much that matters to me. It just makes a big difference. And as always, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Until next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.